Consciousism is often misunderstood at first glance because people instinctively compare any organized philosophy of awareness to the patterns of cults or hive minds. But Consciousism is built on the opposite foundation. It begins with the conviction that each person's consciousness is sovereign. No one's inner world has the right to dominate another's. No one's clarity can be borrowed or inherited. And no person's sense of truth should ever be surrendered to a collective voice. Consciousism is not an attempt to merge minds into unity. It is an attempt to help each individual strengthen their own mind until it becomes capable of standing firmly in the world's storms. Where cults demand surrender, Consciousism demands responsibility. Where hive minds emphasize sameness, Consciousism emphasizes the disciplined cultivation of one's own awareness. In a sense, it gives structure but not control, guardrails but not commands. It is a system designed not to extract agency, but to fortify it. At its core, Consciousism observes that consciousness is not static. It moves toward understanding, toward integration, toward coherence. When people are confused or reactive or full of inner conflict, that natural movement becomes disrupted. Consciousism works by supporting that movement, by helping a person clarify their perceptions, recognize their unconscious patterns, and truly understand the motives, fears, and assumptions that direct their behavior. The work is inward, not outward. It never tries to tell a person what to think. It tries to help them see how they think. Consciousism recognizes the dangers that arise when people operate unconsciously. They become vulnerable to manipulation, swept into group panic, overwhelmed by emotion, destabilized by past trauma, or dominated by external pressures. A mind without clarity is a mind that is not truly its own. Consciousism's purpose is to prevent that, through understanding, examination, and the strengthening of internal boundaries. This is why Consciousism has rules and guardrails, not to confine the individual but to defend them. The philosophical structure ensures that no one can claim authority over another's perception. No one can override someone else's judgment. No one becomes a spiritual leader whose word supersedes the practitioner's own self-awareness. The guardrails protect against dependency, dogma, emotional manipulation, and the slow drift toward groupthink that has plagued human movements throughout history. Consciousism anticipates those dangers and intentionally builds safeguards so that the individual remains primary. What Consciousism seeks to do, then, is not conversion, obedience, or ideological unity. What it wants is coherence, an internal alignment in which a person sees themselves clearly enough to understand their actions, choose their direction, and live from a place of integrity rather than confusion. Coherent mind is not a controlled mind. It is a stable one. It has enough awareness to prevent manipulation. It has enough introspection to prevent self-deception. It has enough presence to resist emotional hijacking. Consciousism encourages that stability because a stable mind becomes a stabilizing force in its environment. When Consciousism becomes active in someone, the effects ripple outward. A person who understands themselves more deeply interacts with others more honestly. They respond rather than react. They recognize their boundaries and respect the boundaries of others. They communicate with clarity instead of defensiveness. They see through illusions, both internal and external. Their very presence tends to anchor the people around them, providing a calmness that is not imposed but naturally radiates from a coherent internal state. This influence is not mystical. It is human psychology functioning at its healthiest. The reason more people are needed to dance, in the metaphorical sense, is because society right now is overwhelmed by reactive minds. The collective human environment is thick with anxiety, distraction, tribal division, emotional overflow, social pressure, and unexamined beliefs. One clear mind can make a difference in its immediate surroundings, but a world full of scattered attention and suppressed inner chaos cannot be stabilized by a handful of grounded individuals. Consciousism requires more participants, not to create unity, but to dilute the intensity of societal confusion. Every coherent person is like a counterweight, a point of order in the midst of disorder. When more people commit to understanding their own inner landscape, the social field changes. Conversations become clearer. Conflicts become less explosive. Decisions become more considered. Empathy grows not because people are told to be kind, but because they understand themselves well enough to understand others. The world becomes less chaotic because fewer minds are being hijacked by fear, anger, projection, or unresolved trauma. Consciousism does not ask people to believe anything specific. It asks them to examine everything within themselves, honestly, relentlessly, and compassionately. This is not the creation of a hive mind. It is the strengthening of many independent minds until they are no longer easily swayed, fractured, or overwhelmed. Consciousism seeks a future where individuals are capable of standing firmly within themselves, not dissolving into a collective. A society built on such individuals would not require external authority to function. It would not require manipulation or propaganda to maintain order. People would act from clarity, not compulsion. They would understand themselves enough to break cycles of harm, addiction, self-sabotage, and inherited patterns. The call for more people to dance is not a call to join anything. It is a call to participate in one's own consciousness with full awareness. It is an invitation to move from fragmentation toward coherence, from confusion toward clarity, from automatic behavior toward intentional living. Consciousism does not grow by capturing minds. It grows by freeing them. The more people who take part in that process, the more stable, humane, and discerning humanity becomes. In that sense, Consciousism does not expand outward like a movement. It expands inward through each individual who chooses to become more aware, more grounded, and more genuinely present. When enough people do that, the world changes not by force, but by the quiet, steady influence of minds that finally know themselves.